AITA for telling my acquaintance she should improve herself or lower her standards if she wants to find a man? I have an acquaintance, Lola 26F, who is single and has been looking for a partner for a very long time. She is on every dating app and wears white whenever we go out to manifest a husband. I don't choose to hang out with her alone, you will see why, but she is friends with a couple of my friends, and so we hang out in groups a lot together. When we hang out, she constantly complains about her dating life. Even if we're talking about something completely different, she finds some way to make the conversation about her boy troubles. Though I avoid direct conversation with her about this and leave it to others to validate her, it has become abundantly clear why she cannot bag a man. Lola has a long list of demands, most of which she does not meet. She wants someone who is ambitious in his career and makes 6 figures. She works part-time and lives with her parents and doesn't seem to be in a hurry to move out. He needs to go to the gym regularly and take care of his body. Lola is overweight and hates exercise. He needs to play an instrument and be into music. Lola says she has never picked up an instrument in her life. He has to be over 6'2". Lola is 5'2". She complains that when we go out, no guys approach her, but I've seen plenty of guys ask her to dance, buy her a drink, etc. And I stay quiet when Lola goes on her long, frequent rants, but a few days ago we were at brunch with some and other friends and she asked me specifically for advice. My fiancé Jim is tall, athletic and ambitious and musically gifted, and she wanted to know how I got him. I tried my best to explain to her nicely that people tend to choose partners who are similar to themselves. Jim and I go to the gym together every day. We both are very dedicated to our jobs, and we have a lot of similar hobbies and interests, so we have a lot to talk about. I told her that if she wants to find a man like that, she should consider applying herself more in her job, going to the gym, and picking up a hobby she wants her partner to have. Otherwise, she could either date a guy that is interested in her as she is, or be comfortable with being single. I thought I was being very polite, but this completely killed the mood. Lola got really upset and accused me of fat shaming her, even though I never said anything about losing weight, just going to the gym because she wants her partner to go to the gym. One of my friends told me Lola is worthy and deserving of a great guy and doesn't need to change herself. I effectively ended the brunch with what I thought was helpful advice. Afterwards, I got some texts from friends demanding I apologize to Lola, but others supporting me and telling me that I was right and Lola was way too sensitive. I was trying to help, but would it have been better if I just lied? Was that an inappropriate thing to say in that setting? Was it an move for me to give that advice? First comment, exactly. I didn't get any of the women I've dated or my girlfriend by being a lazy, unmotivated, fat loser with a shit personality and awful values to boot. I wanted to go for the gold. I work towards like I'm going for it. I believe everybody should work on themselves to be the best they can be, regardless of who they are. Unfortunately, it seems like in the age of social media and TikTok, there's this I don't know what you'd call it, but push from toxic single chicks that preach that you can basically be like this Lola girl and be a frankly awful sounding person both inside and out, deserve the cream of the crop, and men shouldn't settle for less. And anyone who doesn't agree is a insert derogatory descriptors and gender here. Incels and super hardcore marais get roasted for this mindset all the time. And rightfully so, yet when the shoe's on the other foot, it's nothing but cheers and applause. Exactly. I didn't get any of the women I've dated or my girlfriend by being a lazy, unmotivated, fat loser with a shit personality and awful values to boot. I wanted to go for the gold. I work towards like I'm going for it. I believe everybody should work on themselves to be the best they can be, regardless of who they are. Unfortunately, it seems like in the age of social media and TikTok, there's this I don't know what you'd call it, but push from toxic single chicks that preach that you can basically be like this Lola girl and be a frankly awful sounding person both inside and out, deserve the cream of the crop, and men shouldn't settle for less. And anyone who doesn't agree is a insert derogatory descriptors and gender here. Incels and super hardcore marais get roasted for this mindset all the time, and rightfully so, yet when the shoe's on the other foot, it's nothing but cheers and applause. Shitty behavior should be called out regardless of who's committing it. Like you said, this girl is beyond entitled in thinking the way she does. A guy is way more than his height or his bank account, yet she thinks she deserves a top 1% guy when she can't even meet one of her own criteria herself. It's ridiculous. To quote Bill Burr, and pardon the vulgarity, it's just a bunch of 6s mad that they aren't a 10. Sorry, but nobody's jerking off to a 6. Granted, a 6 would be incredibly generous in Lola's case, but I think the point still stands. LOL. Second comment. NTA, but I get why she only heard the gym bit as fat shaming, so a little nah. I had a best friend for years who was a dude just like Lola. only wanted to date a 10 while he was a 4. The problem wasn't that he was a 4, but that he personally assigned numerical values to people. He was overweight but wouldn't date a woman anywhere near his size. I love plus-size women, so I fought him on it constantly. He wanted her to have a laundry list of stellar qualities and also to love him for all his many faults. The double standard was massive, and in his case, there was also a lot of misogyny in it. I told him over and over that his standards for someone else and his personal values for himself were totally out of whack. He never heard me, and as far as I know, he is still single. If Lola was looking for a nice guy to treat her well, then she'd be in the right, but she has an impossible list of rules that only apply to them and not to herself, and she's rejecting potential candidates left and right. It sounds like maybe she's self-sabotaging with those rejections, so she won't put herself out there to end up getting rejected herself. If she holds out for Prince Charming, then it's not her fault that she's single. But if she takes a chance on her neighbor and gets dumped, then it will be because she wasn't good enough. Third comment, stories like that always feel fake to me. You and your BF are perfect people, athletic and rich and kind and smart, and the ogre is trying to find her Prince Charming when she belongs in his swamp. It feels so caricatural. None of you sound like real people. If however I am wrong and this is a true story, how did you guys find these people? Like she's allowed to be attracted to who she wants to, but she's basically a bum and has nothing going on for her and wants Harry Styles or Watch Ever to fall in love with her. People don't always date people with the same profile. You're wrong for that. My bestie is not particularly athletic and her BF is a gym bro, for example. Same, you'll read plenty of story of couples with completely different wage ranges. Your advice sounded condescending a bit. She's insecure, so instead of telling her change who you are, or you won't find your prince, you could be kinder and say if you want a muscular dude, you should join a gym. You might find someone there. Or go to concerts or open mics if you want to date musicians. Put yourself out there. That's silly, but that would really help her change her mindset of thinking love will fall into her arms. I've moved out super early, but most of my friends are living at home still. This is cultural, so depending on her background, and if she's a bum, it's and good for her. She can save and rent. Honestly, sometimes I wish I was still at home. I miss my mom cooking and not having to lose over 30% of my money for a room. Wanting someone based on how much money they make, though, is foul. If once again this friend of yours actually exists, then she doesn't really sound like a great partner to have. However, the questions isn't if you're correct in your assessment or not, but if the comment was uncalled for. With the contempt in your post, if you came across the same way IRL, I'm not surprised it created tensions.